guys, welcome to Unshakable with April Chapman, where we discuss all things social, cultural, political, and theological from a biblical perspective. Let's go ahead and get into this. This illegal immigration situation, this is wild to me, but I want to talk about it in the context of this being a smokescreen. Let's be real for a moment. You guys, this isn't just about compassion. Not for the left, no. For the left, this is not about being welcoming. Like, they don't give a darn about these illegals, okay? It's not even about so-called humanitarian aid. The illegal immigration crisis is a well-oiled machine, and Democrats are at the wheel. They're not accidentally filling sanctuary cities to the brim, right? They're doing it very strategically. And they've been doing it because here's what the left has figured out. They have figured out that the more people dependent on the system, the more control that they have. And then the more chaos in the conservative cities, the more that they can cry conservatives for federal intervention. The more illegals that they can shield, the more votes that they can manipulate, either through lawfare or the census population games that they play or loopholes in election law. This was never about protecting, the least among us or giving these people a better opportunity. This was always about preserving political power, not people. Think about it. Joe Biden opened up the floodgates and let all of these illegal migrants come in. And Texas, because they're like, we're full, we can't manage these. If there are cities that have labeled themselves as a sanctuary city, we're going to send them there. Well, the Democrats, they complained about that, but that is actually what they wanted. They figured if we can stuff as many individuals as possible into these districts that are blue, we can exponentially increase our voting power. And all we got to do is create another dependent class of residents, and we'll stay in power in perpetuity. They'll love us forever. But here's why the sanctuary cities are ground zero. Have you noticed, like, where all the legal, like I said, the migrants were sent? They were sent to major blue cities, New York, Chicago, LA. Here's the reason. In those cities, your tax dollars fund those entitlement programs that the illegals can tap into. So whether it was housing, food stamps, healthcare, even education, it was the perfect setup for long-term dependency and for the Democrats to have a built-in voting base once the Democrats pushed for some form of amnesty or citizenship. And then let's not forget how they're already trying to let non-citizens vote in local elections in places like DC and in New York. And so what I'm trying to help you understand, this is not charity. It's a slow motion coup. Here's the end game. They want votes and power. You've heard the saying, never let a good crisis go to waste. Well, the border crisis is being manufactured to reshape America politically. Let me explain to you how this works. They inflate the census numbers with illegal residents so that they can gain more congressional seats. Then they weaponize race, and emotion, claiming that, if you object to this, your objection is rooted in xenophobia, right? Remember, they got to label you. Then they weaken the American working class, right? Keeping the wages low by flooding the labor market with under-the-table workers. I mean, we've recently seen come out a judge who was harboring an illegal immigrant because the wife hired him to do some little odd jobs like around the house, and then come to find out he probably was making it do what it do with the daughter and had access to guns and firearms. It was just one big mess.
But this morning there is scrutiny on one New Mexico judge who had been serving since 2011 has just resigned following allegations he's been allowing a member of the gang Tren de Aragua to live with him and handle guns in his house. Here's national correspondent Christine Frizzell.
Oh, sí, está pesado.
At first glance, the videos and photos tell a story of a family that loved guns. But who they shared those guns and their home with came as a shock to local authorities. The homeowner, Joel Cano, a Democratic judge in Doña Ana County, New Mexico, who resigned last month following a raid on his home, in which Christian Ortega Lopez was arrested, charged with being in the country illegally and possessing a firearm.
This judge's daughter is allowing this illegal alien to have access to firearms, which is unlawful under 18 U.S.C. 922G. It is a felony for this illegal alien to be in possession of firearms.
Court documents reveal he entered the country unlawfully in December 2023, and a few months later had been hired by the judge's wife, Nancy, who later offered him a place to stay in her residence that she shared with her husband. But most shocking, Homeland Security officials say Ortega Lopez displayed clear indicators of his association with the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua, or TDA. Not just his clothing or tattoos, but voicemails and text messages they say provide significant evidence for their case against him. One reason they ask that he remain behind bars.
Doña Ana County has been a hotbed of illegal immigration and drug trafficking, human smuggling for many, many years. And to see that a judge would allow this to happen, it's very concerning. It's concerning, what else has this judge been doing?
What we don't know is if Judge Cano or his wife will be charged with any crimes, like harboring an illegal immigrant or providing material support to a foreign terror group. President Trump designated TDA, as well as other gangs like MS-13, foreign terrorist organizations in an executive order he signed on his first day in office. I'm Christine Frizzau reporting.
All of this was done so that the meaning of citizenship would be corrupted, effectively making it meaningless. Like, it means nothing to be a citizen anymore. And so they're doing this all while trying to demonize anyone like Donald Trump, who actually wants to enforce immigration law, who actually wants to reinforce that we are a nation of laws. So here's the biblical take to all of this. The government exists to uphold order and to punish lawbreakers. It doesn't say that the government's job is to open the borders, flood the cities, and neglect its own citizens. That's crazy. Compassion does not equal lawlessness. Love your neighbor, yes. Enable national suicide through open borders, no. We cannot have that. And so when you start seeing Democrat senators going down to rescue a father and a husband, and we gotta give him due process. There is a bigger why behind this, and they don't care about that man. They could care less about him, who he has harmed in the past, who he may harm in the future. This was a political ploy and a power grab from the beginning. And the Democrats don't care. They do not care that the American people have said, hey, we want to get this border under control. Say Laken Riley's name. These people are causing harm to us. You cannot put all these people in our cities and push them upon us and think we're not going to push back. Democrats in their authoritarian rule are like, we don't care what you want. We want power and we want it now. And we need these individuals flooding these blue districts so that we can have the redistricting power and electoral votes that we need to make sure that we keep the money flowing and that we stay in power. And so if you are tired of the chaos and the deception, share this episode to maybe break down to some of your friends who don't understand why we are aggressively pushing back against this immigration situation. Also, make sure you're subscribed. Support the work that I'm doing over here. Listen, we combine biblical truth with everyday living. But one more thing. I want to be clear. This is not about being anti-immigrant. I love immigrants when they come the right way. But this is about pro-sovereignty, pro-citizenship, and pro-law. Those are the things that the Lord would have no problem with me supporting and being a champion and a defender of. But whatever you guys think, Leave me a comment down in the box below. And until next time, stay unshakable. Grace and peace.